that Swamiji worked with in the community. As you know, it's our 50th year anniversary. Some of us will be going to the village, but honestly, worldwide, I mean, there'll be 850 people there maximum. But you think of the lives that Ananda has touched, millions, that Swamiji has touched, millions. So the little group of 850 is so small, you think about it. And perhaps there'll be like a representative from each place or a few from each place. But honestly, Ananda is enormous. Even the people who don't live in a community, I don't even live in a community. So it's not like you have to live in a community. People who don't have a center to go to, there's people in Africa and different places around the world, they don't have a center to go to. We're lucky we have a center to go to. There's people online everywhere. There's people in Dubai, there's people in Russia, there's people, I'm just naming off places, but you know, we're getting bigger and bigger. And so Ananda is not about a place. Let's not forget that. Ananda is about consciousness. It's not even really about people, to tell you the truth of it, except for raising one's consciousness. Swamiji took that bus across the country from the east to the west coast to meet Yoganandaji because he wanted him to guide him to God, but he also had in his heart that he wanted to share with him Master's teachings with everyone and God with everyone. And if Swamiji had not had that planted in his heart, the Divine Mother to share that was such a big thing at Ananda when we were all there. Swamiji shared everything he knew. He shared everything Master gave him. He shared everything he had heard and had lived with Master. And how many people would share their life like that? He shared his ups and downs. He shared the difficult times. He shared the wonderful times. He shared, I mean, many times we laughed together. Sometimes we cried together. It was a family, and it is a family. And so that we don't think that it's one place, and if I'm not there, then I'm not part of it. It's a world beyond the world. It's not just the world. It's universal consciousness that's coming from the astral and the causal worlds, that we recognize that vibration as our own. And so we come and we meet Swami Kriyanandaji, or we meet someone, Dharmaraj and Dharmini ji, or we meet different ones, and we feel in our heart, this is my family. We've been together who knows how many lifetimes, probably thousands at least. I look into your eyes and I see my brothers and my sisters. It's not that's Chennai devotees, that's Noida over there, and that's the West Delhi over there, and I belong to Gurgaon. You just don't have that at Ananda. And I'm in India, and he's American, and this one's Italian, and I don't mix with anybody else. It's just not that way. And we've all come here on this little planet and little places, and we're just not these bodies. We're not these personalities. We're not, I want curry, and this one wants apple pie, and this one wants the pasta, and, somebody else wants the Brussels sprouts, or who knows what, but it just doesn't matter. At the end of this life, we're going to break out of these little forms, and we're going to merge again, but in different bodies of light, of higher consciousness. And Swamiji led the way in that, when he brought this down to us through Master through him. And he came for you, everybody that is been attracted. We came at the same time to be able to be uplifted in this vibration. Master said, I can't be there with you, but I'm going to send one of my own to guide you, to help you, to tell you about the life, to give you the tools, to give you Kriya. I mean, if think of one thing, just having Kriya, for God's sake, is such a blessing. And so Master said, here, Swami Kriyanandaji will come, and he will start places where you can live, where you can go and worship, you can go and have kirtan, you can go and meet your guru bhais, you can be with good company. He'll write all these books and play music, write music. You can have a choir, you can have study sessions, you know, and this is just, it's such a gift. And through him, I'll give you all the tools of meditation and yoga and pranayama and success and abundance. He just said, whatever you need, I will provide it for you. So Ananda is a vehicle. It's a movement. It's not a stagnant thing that I'm a member and I have my card and now I can attend the things. What does it matter if your consciousness isn't changed through yoga and meditation and kriya and service? And Swamiji taught us it's not about you. And many people thought it was about them. And then he said, no, it's about selfless service, serving the guru, helping master's work, getting out of yourself. And if you can do that, you won't think about yourself. Your problems will be gone. They'll be dissolved. You'll be happy and you don't know why. And your kids will feel better and your husband or your wife will be more better in better consciousness or whatever it is. But these are the things Swamiji showed us. And what a dedicated person he was. How many people do you know like that? That would give not just a little, here, I'll teach you this, the rest stays with me. He said, no, I'm giving you everything. And he's our father, spiritual father. And I remember when I first went there, he took one look at me. He said, this is your home. And I thought, really? I thought I'm not worthy to go there. He said, no, you should live at Ananda. And I thought, me? That was 40 years ago. I'm telling you, that's a miracle. And so every person who came, he sometimes directed people to other paths, but he was always helping you to some way for your spiritual life. And he was everybody's friend. That was one principle of Swamiji's, was serve others. Think not of yourself. And so people came, and I bet you if you asked those 850 people going to that program, what was Swamiji to you? My best friend. It's everybody's best friend. Anything you needed, any guidance, any help, he would always try to steer you in the right direction. So thinking not of my kriya, my hangsa, my self-realization, my kundalini, is it going to rise up? My chakras, am I going to hear the om? Am I going to see the light? And I used to be worried about that. And I just thought, what does it matter? I love God. Swamiji taught me that. I love my guru. I love my guru bhais. I love Ananda. What is the other part of it? Let Master take care of the rest. And so Swamiji's way, get out of your own little self and all your own little thinking. And what he would do, he wouldn't sit you down and counsel you about your problems. He said, here's a job. I just loved it. He gave you something to do. Take this and go do it. And you say, but what about my problems? And you'd say, just go do this. Then you come back and you have less of a problem. Then he give you something else. And then your problem keeps getting smaller and smaller. You're smaller and smaller till you didn't have any more problems. And that was the thing. Remember the woman that in the path, Swamiji tells her the story, that her whole life is a little bit related to this. Master told her, you're working too hard. Now this is, we think of a problem. That you're working too hard. You must not work so hard. And she says, okay, I don't know. The Master gave her more work. Then he said, but you work too hard. Stop working so hard. And she says, oh, he said, you worked hard enough for many lifetimes. She says, oh, okay, I won't. He gives her more work. And this goes on several times. He gives her more. And she says, oh, God. And she says, Master, why don't we change that word work to save us, service? And he says, now you understood. And that's how it was with Swamiji. It just kept you going. And then you say, well, gee, I'm having a good time serving. I'm not thinking about myself. I don't have any problems anymore. And he would say, now you've understood. So one of the principles of Ananda was, and is, think of others, selfless service, Don't reflect so much on my, this, it. You know, I was thinking the other day, I was telling someone, in fact, yesterday, I said, my only joy comes from serving Master. What other joy is there in life? You can be doing other things, but as soon as you start doing his work, I'm happy now. Isn't it so? The other things, they don't make you happy. And you can serve him in your heart. Even you're serving your family, you're cooking, you're whatever, but you just, it's all for God and Guru. It's all God and Guru. And this is the way we were taught through Ananda. Another one is many hands make a miracle. Now, this is a wonderful concept that I always thought I'd have to do it myself. Nobody's going to help me. And, you know, but Swamiji said, no, let's take hands. Cooperation versus competition. Let's take hands. Let's all do it together. And so anything that's built, Ananda itself, the community, built by the hands of the people there, the schools built by the people there, and taught by the people there, and the Expanding Light retreat facility, people serving there, and Ananda Yoga here and throughout India, all the centers, we're all united by that principle that many hands are making a wonderful movement that's so magnetic and dynamic. And just think if it was just Swamiji. And, you know, he would always offer you, why don't you help do this? Why don't you do this? Come and help me do that. He was always drawing people in to show that he wasn't the only person Master could come through, that other people. He could come through other people as well. So many hands making a miracle. And at Ananda, you know, anytime anybody is ill, and this, I'm sure you do this there, everybody's praying for them. People take food over for the family. Somebody's in the hospital. People would take flowers and food and go take care of their family at home, or whatever the need was. Somebody just had a child. People would take care of the other kids, or, you know, it was like everybody's helping everybody. It's not, no, this is mine and you don't matter. And this is a principle to learn, how you can serve other people and just say, we're all doing this together as a family. We're friends, not just friends, we're Guru Bhais from who knows how many lifetimes. And you know, you meet a Guru Bhai on the path, you just look in the eyes, you say, I know this person. This is my heart friend. And I kid with people, but Guru Bhai will always be there to help you, isn't it so? And you have friends, so-called friends, and you call them and you say, well, you know, I'm feeling kind of down, this and that happened. And they'll say, I have problems too, isn't it so? You know, and then you call the Guru Bhai and you say, well, this happened. They'll say, oh, come on, let's go. Let's get to the center. Oh, there's a kirtan happening. I'll pick you up. Let's go over there. Or I'll send you something of Swamiji I just wrote. Isn't it so? Or come over, let's chat, take a walk in the park. They're always solution. And this is because we know if we keep hold of each other that we can all go into the light. I had a dream of all of us going into the light with Master at the end of our life. We had finished our duties and Master was waiting there. First we were with Swamiji, a big, huge, thousands of people. I don't know how many, but we were waiting with Swamiji. He was the channel. And the doors open, Master comes in, and his hair is flying, and he just was chanting this chant so loudly and with so much power. And he went around, he grabbed people's hands, and he blessed people, and he touched them on the head. And he was just sheer joy and power. And there was no condemnation. There was no putting people down. Yeah, you didn't energize. I saw you didn't go to the satsang. No, you didn't do your kriyas every day. There was never a hint of it. He was so happy. And then at a certain point, he just went into the light. And so did we. This was the most wonderful dream I've ever had in my life. And I tell you because I don't feel it was for me. I feel it was true. If we follow the teachings, follow the principles, take care of each other. Don't just take care of yourself. Don't be selfish, thinking of your own self. Get out of it. And the way you get out of it is get to the center, find some seva to do. And then you find little by little, you're just out of it. It's a wonderful feeling to be out of that, because it's not who we are anyway. I'm this personality, I'm American, I'm black, I got curly hair, I've personality, I'm from blood. What is it? It's just nothing. It's little self-definitions, a bundle of self-definitions. Another thing Swamiji taught us was the importance of Kriya. That Kriya is the central core of our teachings, not a side technique, not when I feel like doing it, but that Kriya, when I came to Ananda, I had Kriya from another group, and I came to Ananda and I thought I knew Kriya. I didn't know anything. I was just completely in the dark. I wasn't hard, I was barely energizing. Hong Sao was pretty much Hong snore, sleeping. And really, home technique, I don't know what I was doing with that. I wasn't doing anything right. Kriya, I didn't know what that was about. I get to Ananda and Swamiji's like, he's on top of you saying, you got to do this right. And I remember he looked at me and said, do you even energize? And I said, no, sir, I don't. He said, you just got to do it. And he would have Kriya retreats every day. We just had one in Pune, but he would sit there and he said, I'm going to sit here and then answer all your questions. He would do the Kriya review. He would do he would have us doing Kriya checking, anything around Kriya. And he showed us, put this first in your life. Everything else will, seek ye first the kingdom of God, as it says in the Bible, and all these things will come. So he showed the vital importance of twice daily energization, doing your practices. Don't put your sadhana on the side, put it right in the middle. And when I got to Ananda, I saw people were so joyful. They had so much energy. They were racing around doing so much seva and happily doing it. And nobody was thinking, what about me? And I thought, I want to be like those people. And I met Jyotishan Devi Ji, I met Jaya Ji, Sana Devi Ji, various people. They just, whoa, they were gone, you know. And I said, I'm going to be like those people. And that's what happens. You get in the mix of the right people, and Swamiji showed you, Kriya, do Kriya, and you will be like those people. And then the next one is a balanced life. Now, there was one man who meditated all the time at Ananda Village, in the early days. You hardly ever saw him. He never served. He didn't even pay his rent for where he was living. And I often wondered about him, but you know what happened to him? He got disgruntled and he left. He's basically like the man that said, I didn't come to pour cement, you know, in the path. I came just to meditate. Well, he wasn't meditating, obviously, that well, at least. Anyway, Swamiji taught us, yes, meditate, but you have to have balance. And he said, you need to exercise, you need to study, you need to serve others. He got us in the choir. He got us chanting, get a harmonium, learn how to chant. He got us doing spiritual study the teachings of Master. You know, it's a balanced life. And it was so much fun with him all the time. Okay, let's go do this. Okay. Anytime people would get too stiff, he would pull out a P.G. Wodehouse book, you know, the great humorist, and he would read those P.G. Wodehouse stories. You'll be just cracking up because he didn't want people to get, I'm on a mission to Ananda now, you know. They were just too much into this big, you know, he just would get you laughing. And then we had plays, you know, different plays. He wrote plays. There were musical concerts, musical evenings. He got you in the choir, you know, just like it's balanced. He would in his own swimming pool at Crystal Hermitage, he would invite people over to come and swim and have a picnic there. You know, he was showing us, bring God into your whole life. Don't just compartmentalize it. And he could enjoy a good meal. He loved Indian food, as I've told you, some of you all, that it would be so spicy, hot, you know, and nobody could take it but him for the most part. And I remember seeing him and you're just sweating from the spiciness of the food. And there's a Swamiji, but isn't that hot? And he said, yes, but it's good, you know. He enjoyed it. He enjoyed a good film, like Bambi, different ones he enjoyed, just like children's films. But he was an all-round person. You see, some people, they're so stiff, they just, hello, pass the butter, you know. It just isn't, there's no joy there. He was very down to earth. And I remember this one time, I think I told you, he asked me to come and help him do something at his house because I lived close by, and he was unpacking, I think. So he said, can you just come for a few minutes and help me? I said, yes, I'm coming. So it was about 9 at night, I think. So I get down there and he says, oh, thank you for coming. I said, Swamiji, only if I were dead would I not come down here. Why be so tense? What's the big deal? It's just unpacking a suitcase. Why be so tense? But they really taught me a lesson because I was always, yes, sir, whatever you need to do, relax. And so you see people, they're on a mission and they're just like this. And he said, just calm down. You can't find God with that tension. And so that one. And then the last point is he talked a lot about, I mean, of course, they're basics, devotion and attunement. I'm talking about more the principles. He talked about having time alone, not just being in community, but spending time in seclusion, on a retreat by yourself, being in silence. And he was often in silence. And I know in India here, that's not something that we know a whole lot about, but the yogis up in the Himalayas, they do. You know, and you live in a cave long enough, you're not going to be talking to anybody. And so I think, you know, think about your life in a cave. We've all had those lifetimes living in a cave, living away from people. Now, Divine Mother's put us with people, but you have to be able to do both. You can't crave people. I crave people to be around. I crave talking. I crave entertainment. I crave company. You can't crave it. You have to, we come in alone, we leave alone in this world. And you have to realize that there's times when every year Ananda Sangha, the office in America, pays for people to take a week off in seclusion, not a vacation. This is a seclusion, meaning you're completely alone. You go to the seclusion retreat, you don't talk to anybody. You know, I did that still, you know, every year. A week by yourself, you and God and Guru. You do more yoga postures, you chant, you study the teachings you've been wanting to read more about all this time. You're only talking to Master and Divine Mother. And let me tell you, that's a powerful moment. And what Swamiji said, I just watched a video of him where someone is asked me about truth, and it was on seclusion. You can watch this, it was excellent. And someone asked him, they say, Dharmadas Nirmal are asking the questions. They said, well, did you start your seclusions like short, like a day or 3 days, or did you start right away and a long seclusion? He said, yeah, I took 2 weeks at the very beginning. And I went, wow, 2 weeks is a long time to be by yourself in silence. You know, and he said, no, I went 2 weeks right away. And, but, you know, he told us, you can do whatever you can do. Do a day, do half a day, do 3 days. But you're going to find that you have to have that personal relationship with God. It doesn't come from, you know, somebody else telling you about it. You have to get that within yourself. However you can do it. Pune has different retreats that we have there. There are going to be other ones. We're going to have a guided seclusion and silence next year. Come as you can, and you will find that it's a tremendous help. Swamiji said when he took a seclusion in those years then, that he said that the seclusion lasted him, the effects lasted him a whole year. Now that's powerful. So meaning that he built up his spiritual batteries by meditating. I think he was meditating 12 hours a day. And even in Pune last week, we were going 4 hours a day. It's just not that much. I mean, you can easily go 4 or 6 hours a day if that's all you're doing is that in seclusion. Get up early in the morning and do long sadhana, and then you have some at noon, and you have some at night. Wow, you feel good after that. So those are things I wanted to share with you. And then the second part of this, I had 4 questions that were given to me that I'll try to answer. How was Ananda when you first came? Okay. Rustic. You know this word rustic? People are living in trailers. People are living in teepees. Some people are living in a tent. Somebody was in a tree house. Other people had redone the chicken coop. You know, it wasn't like you had a stylish, beautiful place and that's why you moved there. It was rustic. But Swamiji was the magnet. He was had long hair, beard, thick glasses. This was at the classes, and we had the Temple of Leaves, which was outside. So we also had an indoor temple, the Temple of Leaves. In the summertime, you could sit outside. Swamiji had a dais, and everybody had Indian clothes for the most part. And you know, there was the whole bhav was India. Swamiji he wore a dhoti, long lungi is a long down to the ground, and he had beads. This is my memory in mala. And if it was hot outside, he wouldn't even have a shirt on. You know, he'd be sitting there. I mean, the Swami, and we'd all be sitting there near him. Some people on the chair, most on the floor, on the ground or the floor, and he had a tampura, big, you know, the big one. He played that, and he would sing, and he had harmonium, and sometimes somebody would be playing the tabla. He had slideshows of India, and he show us our master's home, and you know, various things in India and what India was like. I mean, our eyes were just bigger and bigger. And then he would talked about the masters. He told us all about the gurus, who they were, we learned everything from him, what they did, who they were. And then he talked about the life. Our life, it was dedicated to God and Guru. He was never the Guru. He said, Master's the Guru. And I'm happy to help you. I'm your divine friend. I'm happy to be a channel for him. But he's the one that we look to. And so that was at the beginning. And then we went into the city. So that was, I lived at Ananda Village out of all these years, only about 14 or 15 years. I've been in India about the same amount of time now. Then I lived in the other center. So then, I'll tell you about that. So then from Ananda Village, then Swamiji said at a particular time, now you need to get out and share. He was always not us four and no more. We have a nice place, let's stay here. And then it got built up more and more and more. People got more money in their houses. And the people who went were very, high souls, really. Very bright, well-educated. It was the hippie time, but people didn't come there because they were just a hippie. People came because they were drawn by the magnetism of the spiritual life. And so people came, and you know, Swamiji you had to keep yourself up. You didn't come like I was listening to a talk this morning where he said that he himself, he just didn't care, you know, how he looked in the beginning when he was young, a young monk with Master. He'd have a torn t-shirt and things like this. And Master said, you don't have to look like that. And, you know, so Swamiji, he would get on you. You had to be dressed properly, your hair combed. It wasn't like, I've forgotten the world, you know. You had to really take care of yourself. He was on you, you know. And so people didn't let go of everything. They gained more. And so then gained the spiritual part. So then Swamiji said, now we need to get out and we need to go and take this out to the world, take it out to people. in the cities. And by then people went, oh no, cities, I don't want to go back to the city. So who does he send? First he sends Vijay and Haridas, the first Ananda Center in Sacramento. They had the garage of the eternal religion, meaning the temple was the garage. And the altar was the washing machine and the dryer with an altar cloth on it and the photographs of the masters. And this is humble beginnings. And they gave Sunday satsangs there and classes out in that garage in Sacramento, which is about a 2-hour drive from Ananda Village. Then we went further. Swamiji said, let's go further. Let's go to San Francisco. And people went, oh no, San Francisco, no. Who does he send? Who are the willing souls? Jyotish and Devi, of course. He sends them. We have this huge house there. At the maximum, I think 30 people live there. I lived there for about 2.5 years. They lived there for quite a while. And then from there, we moved into Palo Alto. I lived at the very first Ananda Palo Alto house was like a 7-person house, little house, and a bigger house, and a bigger house. Now the huge community. Everything started small, but I remember one story from San Francisco. Now I told you how Swamiji looked at the village, the long hair and the beard and the dhoti and well, he gets to San Francisco. I remember one day he walks down the stairs. You know, San Francisco, very, it's worldly, let's face it. To reach people, you couldn't go around like he was dressed. He came down the stairs one morning and he had cut his hair and the beard was like either off or very, very light. And he had on a suit and a tie and we went, whoa, completely different. He says, how are we going to reach people? We can't have the way we look be a barrier to reaching people. So then all the guys cut their hair and the beard, and everybody got nicer clothing on, and that was the era, the beginning of moving out and reaching people. Swamiji gave classes all over San Francisco. We had a beautiful mansion, which was huge. I mean, so many devotees in that house. Anyway, that was kind of difficult to keep going because of the size. But then we get into Palo Alto, then the other communities started forming after that. You know the different ones in Sacramento. I said Sacramento, Seattle, Portland, all these places. But then one day Swamiji comes from Europe, and you see, he was traveling all the time teaching, and no one could really afford to go with him very much then, maybe 1 or 2 people. But we'd wait for him at the airport. So we had airport satsang. Everybody would go to the airport, see Swamiji off, like 50, 60 people plus. Then he'd come in, even more people waiting for him, and at the San Francisco airport, and he'd be alone, traveling by himself. When I met him, he was in his 50s. And as soon as you'd see him coming, he'd see everybody raise a hand up. He was back. Everybody was so happy. So he comes and he's at the San Francisco Ananda House after he came back from Italy. And he just announces in this big dining room gathering where people had just come to meet him at the airport and everybody was having lunch. He says, now I feel we should go into Europe and take master's teachings there. And people were just, oh God, how can we do that? I mean, first we go to Sacramento, then we go to San Francisco, these few little communities. Now we're going to Europe, another continent. And Swamiji says yes. And he said, people are asking for us to come. And I was sitting there and I couldn't believe what he was saying either. Then he says, now Dhyana, in front of everybody, I would like you to come with me. And I went, oh my God. I mean, I just couldn't believe that. He had, a couple of names in mind, and he asked me would I come. I just said, yeah. No, I didn't know anything about. I had never been anywhere except for Los Angeles, Ananda Village, and San Francisco. Basically, that was it. But in 3 months, We were there. He chose 4 people. Keshava was one of them, you know Keshava. And I started learning Italian immediately. And we spoke Italian. We lectured in Italian, and this was huge. There was nobody over there that we knew. I mean, it was Swamiji went and he said, now you keep things going here. And I went, what? I mean, I was just so inexperienced. I was brand new practically. I hadn't been in Ananda but maybe 3 years. I mean, I just thought he must have a lot of faith in God. I was 28 years old. I was so out of it. And I asked him, I said, now what are we going to do when you leave? And when he was there, hundreds of people came. Everybody came. Then he was leaving. I said, Swamiji, what are we supposed to do now? And he was just a master at helping you to grow spiritually, because he didn't ever give you, here, you do this. And he said, well, you need to tune in to Master and Divine Mother. Pray to them, and then you will know what to do. And I just thought, oh, I'm doomed. I thought about it. I said, I'm so out of tune. Because, I've told you all this before, but I realized I really have to energize every day now without fail. I've got to do Kriya, more Kriya. I've got to get my Kriyas up to get in tune. I got to get that harmonium, learn the chants. I've got to study these books. You couldn't fake it. You had to really he said, you get in tune, basically. And he would call us, and, by then, remember, at that time, there wasn't any, Ananda wasn't international yet. Ananda was very American. And you talked about, there was no internet then. So all these things we're used to, the WhatsApp, the Twitter, the Zoom, and the Skype, and the, Facebook, and all these things, Instagram, nothing. A letter took a month to arrive, if it arrived, and nobody called. It cost $3 a minute to call from America to Europe to Italy and the other way, and nobody called. And so, but Swamiji called. He called every week, and he just was, he was a cheerleader. He was trying to get you to get up out of bed. I was just so distraught. Why did he leave us here? But he said so many times, and you could feel it, that he was with us, but he wanted us to grow up. He wanted us to lead that work and to grow into it. And so, anyway, that was the movement into going out. So then from there, after that, I lived there 7 years. So this is personal as well. I lived there 7 years. And then after that, Swamiji said, now you go into Africa. And I said, what? I was just like always wondering, why am I going there? And he said, people need the teaching. People have been writing. Go there. And it basically was go to Africa. There wasn't with what, how are you going to get there, who are you going to, what places to go. One place was Nigeria, that was for sure, but we ended up going to 3 places. It was about 3 months. Ananda didn't have money to send people there, so we made our own money to go. I lived in a hut, no running water, no electricity, in the jungle. And we got up early to go out there with a gazillion mosquitoes to do energization. Energization with the people there, and you're just, the whole time. And then end up going to South Africa and also Zimbabwe at the same trip. After that, I came back through Ananda. Swamiji said, get into Australia now. And so some of us went to Australia and spent, it was a few years there. I lived about 2 months there only. Others lived longer there. And then after Australia, I'm just checking the time here now. Yeah, we got a little bit more time. After that, well, was actually 2000, and yeah, Swami said, and you know, Swamiji was 77 years old then, but he felt it inside. The last 10 years plus of his life, what plus or minus, he spent in India. So he called people up and let's go to India. And will you come with me? He asked different people, will you come? Will you come? And you know, and there's a couple, they had just gotten married. This Diane Keshav, he said, you know, come on, let's go. And they said, we just got married. It's great, you know. And anybody who was willing, who he felt had the right energy for India, he asked them to come. And I remember when I was here for a visit, and I said at a certain point, well, Swamiji, I mean, I could see the need. It was, there wasn't, I mean, it was the beginning. So you didn't have any system set up yet. And not many people, and we didn't know that many people here. And there was Swamiji without a lot of help. And I had been doing the Kriya Sangha for 14 years at the village and on the village. So I said, Swamiji, do you think I should stay here and help? And, you know, and he looked at me and says, you're desperately needed. And you need a break. I thought, I'm getting a break in India? How am I getting a break over here? I said, you're desperately needed. Get over here. So I went, I got 2 suitcases, and I came back. And I've been here ever since, you know, since 2005. And so that was the moving out from Ananda village. And then the last thing, I think I just open it up to questions here. Yeah, I've covered all these other points. One thing I'll say though is Swamiji wanted Indians, the local people running the work here. He said it from day one. He didn't want foreigners running things. He says, India, why are we running things? And I remember I said once, well, Swamiji, you know, this was at the very beginning. I said, there's a couple of people, they're teaching how to meditate now. He says, I want them doing everything. He just shouted. I said, oh, okay. So he meant all the areas of responsibility and the teaching. I'm just so happy that it's happening now. I think we have 150, maybe that's a high number, maybe between 100 and 150 how to meditate teachers, teaching people how to meditate. We definitely have 100 plus yoga teachers. And mainly all the centers are run by the local people. It used to be not that way at all, but Noida is run by Abhishek over there. And then we've got Shaman Vasudev in West Delhi, Ashish with Jayanti are in Gurgaon now, Hari with Amit. They're working with Diane K. Down in Sergio, and you know, it should be this way. In Italy, there's only 5 Westerners who live there who serve that work. All the others are Germans, Italians, Swedes, you know, whatever, Russians. It should be that way. So that's what Swamiji wanted. So I think I'll open it up now to questions you might have. And for this, I'm going to put my glasses back on so I can see you better. And you can ask any questions you might have. You'll have to say it loudly so I can hear you well.
I just have, we were some of us discussing about how we would often mention the toolbox that Swamiji gave us of so many things that we could do. So recently, like there was one day in which there was a mood, and then so I was thinking, and what are these things? So once it took a few Swamiji videos for the mood to disperse, but then that got me thinking, what are the other things that we can all readily do when sometimes we get clouded?
Okay, just for mood or down energy, low energy?
Yes, that's basically what it is.
Okay, the toolbox is essential. Everybody should have one. And in that toolbox, you've got a lot of fantastic things you can do. I'm going to just give you a few. So one, Swamiji said this, Master said this, to get out of the bed in the mornings. I know some people have a difficulty with this. I just learned this myself because we've been researching a lot of these different tools. He said, from the bed, not even getting up out of the bed, from the bed, inhale, tense your whole body and vibrate in the bed. And then exhale and relax. He said, do that several times because he said, you're stripping the muscle gears by just jumping out of the bed, walking around like this for a while. He said, get the prana flowing and then get out of the bed and stand next to the bed. Walk in place or tend to relax a few times more. Now, isn't that a great thing? I've been doing that. And it certainly helps you to get more energy flowing in the whole body before you get out of bed. So if anybody is having a hard time, nobody there is having a hard time getting up, I'm sure. If you are, that's a wonderful tool to use. Now, another thing for, how can I say, a mood. I'll start with that. Swamiji said he put his mind here for 5 minutes and the mood went away. Now, I would add to that, maybe do a few kriyas. Do 3 kriyas. Do 4. Do a few until you feel like the mood is going away. Another wonderful source that not many people use is Swamiji's music. And I love hearing the choir there, by the way, it's so beautiful. Remember we used to have the other place, I'd be in the back room and choir would be practicing and I, yay, from the back room. But if you could get some of Swamiji's songs, like personally, every day, because I walk and, on the park and everything, but I play I Awaken Thy Light. Because for one, I want to wake up and I want that waking up to be in the light. But you have your own chants. But singing the chants in the car, if you can, have your device play them on a walk or honestly, that's the thing that gets me in a better space immediately is the music. Play it all the time. And of course, if you can get a harmonium or some device instrument you can play on, how many people there have a harmonium? Anybody there have a harmonium?
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, great. So the harmonium, I remember someone very dear to me many decades ago passed away. And I was distraught. Nobody could talk me through it or nothing else helped. Reading, I was on the path. Reading didn't help, talking didn't help. The only thing that helped was the harmonium. Just chanting and chanting and chanting and chanting. And it just washed it away. So chanting either with your device or chanting with the harmonium is another wonderful thing. Another is, what I like to do is after meditation, you can go in there at any time in your meditation space, your puja room, and just talk to the masters. Just tell them what it's about. This is bothering me. I'm trying to get out of it. I'll tell you a wonderful story. What I'm saying is grace. And I've told you this before, but I'll tell you again that there was a time when I was going through a very difficult karmic bomb. We all go through those. There's the little things, but then there's the bomb. It hits you and you're reeling. You just don't know which way is up or down. And if you're going to ever get out of that, isn't it so? Everyone goes through these periods, either your health or your finances go bad or someone's hurt you or, it's like this life is set up to teach us these lessons. And I had tried everything. I was affirming, I was chanting more, I was doing more kriyas, I was energizing more, I was doing yoga postures, I was teaching, I was serving. And I went to Swamiji, I said, I don't know what else I can do. And I think it's 2 reasons. Because I tried everything was the first thing. And because I was so open and honest, I wasn't fake, acting like I was fine. I wasn't fine. And I said, I don't know what else I can do. And he just said, don't worry about it. And I thought, he's not worried. I'm the one worried. I'm worried, but he's fine. But then I went home. I went to bed that night, and this never happened to me really. I woke up and it was gone. That heavy, it was a heavy feeling. It was gone. And I went and told Swamiji, and all he said was, "That's good." And one time I tried to thank him, and he said, "Dhyana, Master's helping you." And I thought, really? But he was very clear about it. And I think, that's what I want to say to you all. If you ask in the right way, do what you can. Don't sit and help me. Try all the things we're talking about. But in the final analysis, what's going to change you? What's going to change your habits? What's going to change your moods? What's going to change your karma? What's going to change you? Yourself? No. Grace. God's grace. So we have to get in tune and in harmony with that grace. And then it can help you. And so do your part as best as you can. But don't forget that the gurus, Swamiji used to say, Master's on our side. He wants us to be happy. He wants to help us. He's trying to get us out of delusion. But if you want to stay with that delusion, he said, okay, I'll wait. I remember I had a time in my life where there was an easy route. When I was going through another difficult time, there was an easy way to go and there was a hard way. And I said, I don't have the strength to go the hard way, even though I knew that was the right way. So I tried to, just ease myself out of the situation and, an easier way. And my heart hurt. It was like, Master was like, that's not the way. I'll help you, but go the right way. I start going the right way, all the doors open, It was like he was so happy. So these things you learn along on the path. You hold grudges. I remember there was somebody who I was so bothered by that person. And I tried my best to just get that out of my consciousness. And I just kept trying for a long time. Sometimes these things take a long time. Don't think it's overnight and I'm free, We're not free. It's these things, they can take you a long time to get rid of some karma. And, but I remember at a certain point, I saw this person, it was at Ananda village, some way back. And I felt like, oh, I just didn't, how that feeling comes. I don't want to be around them. So I was on a panel, a speaking panel, one of 4 people. And so, when you're giving out to other people, you're uplifted. You're not, your energy is up. And so after that, I felt so uplifted. So I went to one friend of mine. I said, I feel so uplifted. I'm going to go over and say hello to that person who's hurt me so badly. And she said, you're going over there? you know how badly they hurt you, and why would you, and I said, so I said, oh, so then I go to Daviji, and I said, Daviji, honestly, I feel like I need to go over there and say something to that person. And she says, this is the difference. She says, I'll come with you. You see the difference? One says, oh my God, you're going. And Daviji says, come on. Like, you want to work that karma out now? Come on, I'll help you. And I felt it was Master. She took my hand. We walked over there. And I said, hello, and whatever, how are you? And, the karma was over. I left there, I could have levitated. I was just so, and light. And I told Swamiji what happened. I saw him. I just happened to see him soon after. I said, Swamiji, I just can't believe that happened. And he said, you should have done it. And I'm so proud of you. You see? But it took time. But I kept giving it to Divine Mother. I kept giving it to Master. I've tried my best. I'm doing my best. So use the tools, but that's only 25%. In the toolbox is only 25%, isn't it? It seems like it's 100, but it's not. 25%, the guru is just shoveling out your karma. He's saying, Gilma, I'll take this away from you. And 50% is Divine Mother's, her love. She said, I love you so much. I just uplift you. But just let go of those things. I'll take you up. So 75% is not even us. It's pretty humbling, isn't it? So yes, do everything you can. Do all the practices. I think one of the biggest things, I'll say it again, is serve, 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 serve. Just keep serving. I mean, for me, serving, we were setting up one of the Gurgaon halls yesterday, and I just realized, for me, I love serving more than anything. No, I don't want to say that too loudly, but I just love getting in there and making things work and making it to happen. And, all these things are just so much fun. When you do it for God and Guru, it's so much fun. And so don't be heavy on the path. Just think, must be time, yes. But just think it's a joyful path. Master is giving you the joy through everything, Kriya, service, through all the things. Just be happy, be with him, and you will find it's a wonderful life. What a privilege, what a blessing. How many people have the very, 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 very good karma to even want to know God? Wow, that's what we have. So, God bless you all.
Thank you, Dhyana.
Yeah, so nice to be with you, and I'll be seeing you soon. Otherwise, I'll be seeing some of you a little bit later, but I'll be seeing you.
Yes.
Master bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.